Hello YouTube, welcome to Sunday in the Shop. I picked today to do this because this is going to take a while with some rambling on. Can you see what I'm doing here? That's why I picked Sunday to do it, because I'm trying to find my pokey tool. It's a big darning needle if you wonder what this is. What a nice tool. Can you see where this naturally was rounded? This is a chainsaw file, okay? 5/30 seconds. You can buy them in the store. I had this tip rounded for a punch. Probably for tin cans or something. Let's get the shadow out of the way. That's the camera doing that. Can you tell how I'm trying to take this down so there's no curve? Because we want our 4 sharp edges. And this is just done with a Dremel tool. Okay, so I'm going the next pattern. You gotta go this way. You gotta go that way. Don't do this. You'll wish you never did. Go ahead. Go ahead and do it. I dare you. No, go ahead and do it on something. You'll see where it makes ripples. Looks like a washboard. Looks like a bad road. I live on a gravel street. It kept getting washboardy. It makes little If you go like this, you won't get that. No matter how small a diameter or bigger diameter it is, it's still going to do it. Sound like another YouTuber I watch. Sometimes I give a shout out for all the channels I watch I like. Half-ass Customs. Okay? He builds old stuff. He's got like a 38 Plymouth 4-door. He's turned into a 2-door. He's got a donkey for a... Well, it's a jackass. You can say it. It's not a dirty word. For a logo. There, we'll give him a shout out while we think about it. I just got you watching him last night. See that? Watch, I'll turn it. You'll see it come up. Are you seeing it? Keep watching. Okay, there's my ground. Of course you can. But we can turn at an angle. There's enough of that for the intro. Okay, let's get busy doing this. That's the handle we're going to use. Okay? That's a 1/4 inch hole. Focus. I watch a model car builder, and I'll tell you what, he finds some of the most unusual. I'm not into looking for a whole different, like half a dozen guys who watch model car building, but I'll give him a shout out when I remember his name someday on the Sunday in the Shop. He's found some neat model cars, man. If you want to see, he's got a, remember the Ford GT whatever that raced in Le Mans? It's similar to that car, but the motor in it that comes with it is like for a Lotus. Look up the 1960, I can't tell you, look up that famous Lotus on YouTube, and I'm not kidding you, that thing has the exhaust coming out of it's a little small block, like a Ford 289 302, like 260. We can ramble on about that for you motor guys, motorheads. The exhaust comes out on top of the engine where the intake would be, okay? Well, it's dual overhead cam, and the fuel injection stacks, like Hillborn injection, that's what I call it. They're like little stub stacks. Goes down in the middle of the heads through the valve covers, okay? Now, when I was a kid, that was my first model car. And this guy was famous. It's green. You'll find it. It's in a museum somewhere. That was my first model car. My brother would paint, older brother would paint it like a light purple color. But I remember the box. So I know what it is. It's a famous little Lotus. A Lotus is some cars out fenders, what they call them, Indy cars, whatever. You know, the wheels stick out the frame. Just got that little torpedo looking body. So if you're into cars and stuff, like, look that up. And you'll see the yellow header on the top of that thing in the middle. And there's a video out there running one of them at a museum. And I think it's the exact one, the famous one. So there you go, enough shout outs. There's 2 of them. Yeah, you're getting the motor. That's cool, man. And that motor comes in that model kit. So I'm looking forward to watching him build that. I'm not going to say the name because I'm not sure. Okay, let's get to work. This is 5 minutes of talking. We don't want no 20-minute long videos. See how everything's magnetized? This is a 5 30-second file. How do I know? Because if you get in here and you want to try to read it, I did it with my bare eyeballs. It's in here somewhere. This is an Oregon file. Don't buy a file if it's not an Oregon file, and I don't get paid to say that. You might see a little bit of this file sticking out. I've already got measured how much I have to cut off. You will not cut this stuff with a hacksaw. This is tool steel. You will not grind this with hand sand. You will not file it. You have to grind it. Now, if you had a disc sander, I wouldn't use a belt sander. I'm not that brave. I'm going to do this all by hand. So, 6 minutes, rambling on. It's hot in here, I ain't kidding you. It's supposed to get 40 degrees today. I've got to turn that heater down. It is 80 degrees on my thermometer. So when it's nice out above like 20 degrees outside, you can cook in here. Oh, there, that's enough. We've got to take a break. Even the battery symbol came on. We rambled so long for 6.5 minutes. Get to work. Okay, this will be a real quick clip. See how I numbered these? See that? Do 1, and you skip, and do 2, right? And do 3, skip around, and do 4. That's how you keep it square. You see where it's going now? It don't have that drop down. It's more angled right down to a point. Now we're going to take some sandpaper and our diamond file and stuff, and we're going to try to shape this the best we can. So there we go. We'll be back after doing this. This has to be shorter, but don't cut off your material till you're done. It gives you a handle to work with. I need to cut a few inches off this, so I'm leaving alone time getting ready to fit it to the handle. See, leave yourself some working surface to stick it in. I stuck this in the drill and polished this, so there, 1 minute on that. Back to work. Okay, here's some options for sanding and grinding. Get a nice flat knife. You can use any tape. I like foil tape. This is 150 grit. This is that zirconia, carbide, whatever, Harbor Freight stuff. And for fine detail work, see I got that folded 4 times? Okay. We had that stuck in here. Let's roll it around again. We had that stuck in there. It's just pushing down my fingertip. Just think, this is no handle on it. I just grab it, and that hurts your finger, man. That's a file you got in your fingers. Show the shadow. 1 tip on grinding and sanding this. Do not come... Here, let's get here, because this is important. Do not come off and be tempted to sharpen this down at a different angle. Keep it one single plane. You know, so don't be tempted to come along and it's like, oh, we'll sharpen off. You're just gonna dull it. You have to stay one long single, and that's what you use this for. This is kind of, you know, this is kind of your guide. Don't do that and sharpen the tip like that. You need one long, thin. Now, a knife you would do that. This you don't. And do your crosshatch. Can you see where I'm doing my crosshatching? We can get to focus. Might not be able to see it. In other words, go 2 different directions. You know, go this way and go that way. And, you know, I preach it so much yes, we know. Sarcasm from the back of the classroom. Yes, we know. I wouldn't make a very good teacher. There'd be some kids kicked out of my class. I'd probably slap a couple. No, I wouldn't. Well, I don't know. When I went to school, there was a couple of teachers wanted to slap. They knew they'd be fired instantly, but ready to slap your... I'm sorry. If it's not funny, I don't want to do it. You know, I watched a guy who's been, in fact, since motocross, his camera's been acting up lately. Remember how good this thing used to be where I'd get down in here like this? Here, this time to play with it. We're going to crash into the moon. Your lens will start making you a shadow. There, the lens is touching the table. I'm not kidding you. I like close-ups. What's this like on the big screen? Somebody tell me. I watch on a 17-inch laptop, so. And I can watch without my glasses with it sitting on my lap, so. Let me know. People, comment back. I noticed a few of my Sunday in the shop videos jump up. One of them like 500 views or something. I'm not going to give up yet. Somebody's going to discover me and I'll be... I feel like the Hollywood actress wannabes when they hung up. What was that drugstore there? Do some research. What was the drugstore where the girls hung out hoping to be discovered? Well, I'm on YouTube hoping to be discovered. Make me famous. Anyway, I need the money. No. I've thought about Patreon and stuff like that, but I don't know. I asked people what their opinion. I haven't had one single comment about it. Should I try to start? But then you're healthy. You got to make what they want you to make. See, people expecting it. I can't do that. So we're just rambling on playing. See how the shadows change, and that's all it takes. Here, let's get rid of all this garbage. Let's go back to the good old 1950s kitchen table. Can you guess which one of my viewers really likes this old table? I think he really does. He's got a lot of old stuff since he was a kid. He's still got toys from when he was a kid, so I'm giving you hints. Who watches me and had toys since he was a kid up in his attic? If you don't watch Scout Crafter, you don't know what you're missing. He's got more junk piled in his place than... Not junk. You know what I mean. Stuff. There. Stuff. The Aladdin's Cave of Old Toys. What do you think? We're trying to draw you into this little world. Oh, I'm not drilling through my table, but I'm brave to be pressed down. And made a little bitty mark. This is pretty hard stuff. You know, this is always clean, sanded all the time. I've got a video of me sanding this in a ceramic thing that goes under your coffee cup. Let's collect the moisture in your car console thing, coaster thing. I'm always sanding this and scrubbing this. So you think the table would have a dip in it. They pretty soon it'd be like this. Here, let's get back and use a little rag. It's got paint on it from the other day. No, I'm always doing this. I use simple green, and you can wash this 4 or 5 times, and the rag will still turn dirty. We're seeing what we pick up with this rag. Not bad. I cleaned it a couple days ago. Okay, we need to take a break. This is becoming too long. But look at the dirt and scum. When I come back, I'll tell you where I got this table. There you go. There's an interesting story. Where this table came from. You've all seen it. It's a 50s table. I see one on TV the other day. And the double leg, for those of you who haven't watched the video. Oh, she's a gem. The leaf was turned into my boom box. Imagine I'd left that leaf in there. It would have been this much bigger in here. But the table was sagging. It was old. And I didn't want to feel like fixing them runner things. I mean, I patched it and put some screws. And so the table was caving in when I took the leaf out. It did have a warp and a bow to it. So let's take a break. Time to sit back, relax, take a break, and I'll be back. Well, we're done. Look at the pictures. I wrapped a whole bunch of tape around here. It's that gooey first aid tape. And I had so much around there, and when time I put the epoxy, it was trying to push this off. Excuse me, don't belt on camera. I had to put this down in my vise, push down on it, clamp it down, to hold pressure on this, because it was trying to pop off because I was pushing that tape up against there. You really can't see it in there. It is not perfectly straight. It does not matter. You know what these are good for? If you're doing remodeling in a house, say this is the wall stud right here, right? It's covered with sheetrock, and you're trying to find that wall stud to put the outlet remodel box. You go along, you poke to the sheetrock till you find it, or if you don't, and find the edge. And just keep making little holes in it. Draw your line for your box. Make your corners. You know, put your holes through. But you can find the side of that 2x4. I think you know what I mean. So, how long is this thing? We left some of the files so you can see what it is. We didn't want it too short. So let's say that's 3 inches. And let's see that's 3.5. It's like 7.5 inches. So it's a nice tool. And my hands are, I gotta clean mine. You can't keep your fingernails clean. I don't care what you do when you come out here. Anyway, I got some alcohol swabs, you know, the little, you know what I mean, pads. And I cleaned up, I had a little bit oozing out here. And so I wanted to get it out of the file. And I had it all over my fingers. But nice tool. We're gone for the week. See you next time. I hope you enjoyed this one. I did. That's a nice tool. And this thing is hard to, and it's drilled clear back to here. I got out my drill bits and I didn't want to cut any off. So I drilled way back in here. And you'll see where I wrapped tape around the very end of it. So I epoxied here first, let it cure, and kept straightening it up. And then I just piled it in there. So this is epoxied on the wood. It's epoxied all the way around there. You're not going to ever break this unless you pound it on it. I should have filled that hole in, but I just don't care. There we go. We're out here. We're gone. This is going to be a long video, but at least it's a Sunday one. Thanks for watching.